morning, children. How are you all? So today we are going to deal with the chapter 2 in 9th class biology. The name of the unit is plant tissues. The name of the unit is plant tissues. Now first of all, let's go in this way. What is a tissue? What is a tissue? Tissue is nothing but a group of cells. There are unicellular organisms. What do you mean by unicellular organisms? These are the organisms which are made up of one cell, or you can call them as single cell. Now, whereas if you take the human beings, we are all multicellular. That means we are made up of many cells. We are made up of many cells. Now, what is the need of formation of a tissue? Why a tissue is formed? What are the different kinds of tissues are there in a living organism, which we call multicellular organism? So, if you see that, now this tissue, already we have understood that this is made up of group of cells. So, each and every tissue will have a different function. Wide variety of functions you can see in variety of tissues which are present in the living organisms. First of all, we will go ahead with the plant. So we will see what are the different tissues which are present in that and what are the functions of these particular tissues. That is what we are going to see. Okay, first of all, we'll go ahead with the plant here. Now you all can see this plant, this particular plant. Okay, it has many functions. Now, what are the different parts of the plant? Yeah, the first one is roots. This one is stem or shoot. These are leaves. These are flowers. So, now you can see basically if you see a plant, there are the four parts which you can easily identify. So, the first one, starting with the tip, you can go with the roots, and then the terminal part is roots, and next is stem, next is leaves, and next is the flowers. So these are the four different parts. Now it's very evident that the roots are also made up of cells. Here some of the cells will form as a group, and that group we are calling it as tissue. The same group of cells we are calling it as tissue. So now this tissue, what is the function of the roots? What is the function of the roots? Roots will absorb the food material or the raw material which is required for the formation of food. That is, they will absorb the mineral salts and water. So for the formation of food, what is very much important is water and mineral salts. So this mineral salts and water is absorbed through the roots. That means the roots, the tissues which are in the roots, the main function is to absorb the mineral salts and send them to the different parts of the plant, or especially to the leaves where the food production will take place. Now if they have to travel through the stem. Okay, so again there are some tissues which are in the stem which will be able to transport the mineral salts and water. That means the tissue which is in the stem will help in the transportation. They will help in the transportation of water and mineral salts. Now that is how they will reach the leaves. And in the leaves there are some particular tissues which will help in the production of food. They will help in the production of food. That means the fruit is produced in the leaves. That means there are some tissues in the leaves which are helping in formation of the food. So, like this, each and every particular part of the plant will have its own function. If you take the leaves also, when the leaves, they will have some special structures on them which will help in the exchange of gases. which will help in the exchange of gases. So leaves are the ones which are helping in the exchange of gases. They are the same ones which are helping in the transpiration, that is releasing the excess water outside through the leaves is called as transpiration. So these are the different functions which are taking place in a plant. That means there are several tissues here which are actually helping in all these processes. So now we are going to see what are the different tissues and what are their functions. That is what we are going to see now. So stay tuned. Okay, children, the first type of tissue in plants is meristematic tissue. Of course, there is dermal tissue, there is ground tissue, and also vascular tissue. Out of all these four, we are going to first learn about the meristematic tissues. What is a tissue? Meristematic tissue. Now here you can see a rough diagram of the meristematic tissues, and these meristematic tissues are usually found at the tip regions. That will be the terminal part in the plant. So when you see the tip regions, you can see new leaves over there, flowers over there, isn't it? So that particular tip region, the tissue which is present in that is the meristematic tissue. So this meristematic tissue is basically present at the tip or the apex region. Now what is the, okay, and now this particular part you can see here, this particular part which I am highlighting now, this one is called as the apical meristem. In the meristematic tissue, we have drawn a diagram of the tip of the stem. Out of that, we are making sure of the different parts which are present in that. The first part is the apical meristem. The part which I am highlighting is the apical meristem. This apical meristem is the part which is present in the tip or the apex, and this particular part will help. What is the function of this apical meristem? It will help in the growth of the plant in length, right? It should grow in length. So that's how this particular part will help. Tissues at the growing tip, they will bring the growth in length in the stem. That is how when it keep on growing, you can see the plant growing, isn't it? So it grows in the length. That is how meristem, in the meristematic tissue, the apical meristem will help. And the second one is the lateral meristem. Second one is the lateral meristem. These are the tissues which are present at the edges of the meristem, and they will help in increasing the girth of the plant. That means the girth is nothing but the circumference. You can see that the stem keeps on becoming hard and hard, isn't it? It keeps on growing in its circumference also. That is how lateral meristem will help in the growth of the girth of the stem. And third one is this particular part you can see here. This one is the intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristem, and this intercalary meristem is also called as the cambium. It's also called as cambium. You can see the new leaves coming out at the tips, and you can see the new flower stalks coming out at the tips, and you can see new branches coming out at the tips, and this is all because of the intercalary meristem, because they arise at this particular place. So on the whole, the meristematic tissues are helping the plant to grow. They are helping the plant to grow. So these are present at the shoot tips, okay? They are when the shoot tips, they help in the growth of the plant in length, the girth, and also they are allowing the plant to have the new branches or the new leaves and new flower stalks and whatnot. So on the whole, what we can conclude in the meristem is, meristematic tissues is, these are helping the plant to grow. Okay. Second one is, not only at the shoot tips, but also they are present at the root tips. This is also a place where it grows, isn't it? So root tips is also a place where the plant will grow. See, the root will keep on growing. So the tip of this root also will have the meristematic tissue. Meristematic tissue. Because it is having the meristematic tissue, it is able to grow. So meristematic tissues will help in the growth of the plant. So which tissue will help in the growth of the plant? Meristematic tissue. If you take the stem of the meristem, what are the three different parts you can see here? One is apical meristem, second one is lateral meristem, and third one is intercalary meristem. Out of that, apical meristem has a function of growing the length of the plant, and second one is lateral meristem. They help in the girth of the stem, and third one is intercalary meristem. They allow the plant to get the new leaves, flower stalks, and also new branches. Even some of the meristems are also meristematic tissue is also present at the root tip, so that the roots also will keep on growing, because they never cease anywhere, they will never stop anywhere, they keep on growing. That's only because of the meristematic tissue which is present in the root tips. So shoot tips and root tips, what do you have? Meristematic tissue. Is it clear, children? If you have any doubt, you can put in the comment box. So children, see here, the second tissue is the dermal tissue. Second one is the dermal tissue in the plant. The first one is the meristematic tissue, and the second one is the dermal tissue. So this dermal tissue is a single layer of cells which covers the organs of the plant, and they will have basically three layers. One is epidermis, mesodermis, and endodermis. So these are the three layers basically present in the dermal tissue. Okay, and then the next point which you can see is walls are thicker than that of the meristematic tissue. So if you take the meristematic tissue, if you see the tip of any plant and all, it will be very, very delicate. And unlike meristematic tissues, dermal tissues are very, very strong. And then if you see the desert plants and all, they receive very, very, very limited amount of water, isn't it? So water is very, very scarce over there. So what they have, because they receive rains hardly twice a year. So as they receive water hardly twice a year, they have to save the water, isn't it? So if they have to save the water, what they have to do is they have to stop the process of transpiration. What is the process of transpiration? Transpiration is a process where the water, excess water is actually sent out of the plant. Excess water is sent out of the plant. So whatever the water is there, which is excess to the plant, that is sent out to the process called as transpiration. And even in the formation of food, water molecules are formed. They are also sent out of the plant, and they are sent out in the form of water vapor, not exactly as water. Okay, so whatever the water is there, that will be sent out in the form of water vapor in the process called as transpiration. But if you see the desert plants and all, they have scaly leaves, and also their outer layers are coated with the waxy layers, isn't it? You know why? Because to prevent the process of transpiration. And this transpiration is basically happening because of the stomata. Stomata are the very, very small structures which are present on the leaf. You can see the stomata here. They are two bean shaped cells here, and there is a middle space which is called as the stoma, and these two cells are called as the guard cells. Now this stomata has a very, very great function, because the stomata will help in the transpiration. It will allow the excess water to go out, and second thing which is it is helping in is exchange of gases. Exchange of gases. It is also helping in the exchange of gases, because it has to take the carbon dioxide inside and it is giving out the oxygen outside. So we have nostril to take the oxygen inside and give out the carbon dioxide outside. But whereas how plants will prepare the food material, they have to take the oxygen inside and they have to give out the carbon dioxide outside. And even in the respiration, they have to take the oxygen inside and give out the carbon dioxide outside. So all this process usually takes place through the stomata. So the stomata is also a part of our dermal tissue, and you can see if you see the roots also, they'll have the root hairs. So the dermal tissue will have the root hairs which will help in the absorption of the mineral salts and water. Okay, and not only that, the dermal layers, they keep on forming over the stem, and after many years what you can see, the dermal layers will become dry and they will become bark and becomes a protective layer of the stem, isn't it? The trunk. So you can find this bark on the trunks. So that is a dead dermal layers. So basically this dermal tissue, the main function of the dermal tissue is that to protect the plants. Because they are forming the outer covering, they are protecting the plants. So how the plants are protected? It's only because of the dermal tissue, and they will prevent the breaking of the stems, they will prevent the splitting of the stems, they will prevent the parasitic invasions, they will not allow the parasites to come inside the plant, and also any disease causing organism, they will not be able to come into the plant because of the dermal tissue. On the whole, if you see, dermal tissue is a protective layer which is specially protecting the plant. So what is the first one? Meristematic tissue, it is helping in growth of the plant. Second one is the dermal tissue, it is helping in protecting the plant. Now what is the third one? Third one is the ground tissue. That is what we are going to study now, ground tissue.